Bart was basically the black hole of the class. The closer a student sat to him, the worse their grades became. The principal even built a 3D model to illustrate Bart's distorted gravitational field. But Bart's destructive power wasn't limited to the classroom. That day, he also ruined the school's fire drill. Flanders was supposed to participate in the demonstration, but the flames on him got out of control. Everyone rushed to find the fire hose, only to discover that the water pipes had been rerouted to the gymnasium. The next moment, Bart came riding out on a pedal contraption, unleashing a massive torrent of water that flooded Springfield Elementary. Flanders was saved, but all the school facilities were waterlogged.
My sport goggles!
The principal summoned Homer and Marge, explaining that the school simply couldn't accommodate a child like this and would have no choice but to expel Bart, unless they were willing to try a medication called Focusin. However, the drug came with side effects and potential risks. Marge was worried about these side effects, but seeing Bart's current state, she decided to give it a shot. Homer and Marge then toured the pharmaceutical lab. The researcher assured them they would be very satisfied with the drug's effects. For instance, these ordinary guinea pigs were running around wildly, but after being sprayed with the medication, they immediately became obedient and well-behaved, with focus levels surpassing most humans. Homer immediately asked for a bottle of Focusin.
The only thing more effective is regular exercise.
Meanwhile, Bart was at home playing video games. Marge was fretting over how to get him to take the medication when Homer decided to simply launch the pill into Bart's mouth with a slingshot. When Bart heard he was supposed to take Focusin, he flatly refused and retreated to his treehouse. Homer then tried hiding the pill in a piece of toffee, but he was too greedy and ended up eating it himself. Marge knew force wouldn't work, so she used emotional manipulation to lure Bart down. After some persuasion, Bart finally agreed to take the medication.
Way to guilt him, Marge.
It's what I do.
The effects of Focusin were nothing short of immediate. In class, when the teacher asked for a volunteer to read aloud, Bart was surprisingly the first to raise his hand. But the teacher completely ignored him and called on another student instead. Just then, two dogs started fighting outside the window, and all the students crowded around to watch the commotion, all except Bart, who remained seated at his desk. The teacher was astonished. It was the first time she had ever seen Bart actually paying attention. After school, Lisa was watching TV. When she saw something hilarious, she couldn't help but share it with Bart, but he was completely unmoved and even anxiously tried to shoo her out because she was interrupting his studying. At dinner, Marge received a thank you letter from Bart, in which he expressed gratitude and praised her hard work. Homer asked if there was a gift for him too. Bart handed him a copy of Chicken Soup for the Loser's Soul, a book to comfort Homer's failed life. That night, Bart went into overdrive, speed reading and studying like crazy. He even tutored other kids. Homer marveled at how miraculous the drug was. They'd never have to worry about their child's academics again. Seeing Bart so well behaved, Marge decided to have a date night with Homer. They wanted to do something only adults could enjoy, like watching a risque film. To their surprise, nearly every man in town was there, and Abe hadn't missed a single showing.
Shut up or I'll pound all of you.
Homer and Marge had a wonderful evening, but when they returned home, they found Lisa sitting on the front porch. She said Bart was acting strange, even scary. When they went inside, they discovered Bart's room was covered in hangers. He was wearing a trash can lid as a hat and had wrapped his body in aluminum foil. He explained that he knew satellites were monitoring them and that people's electronic devices were ground zero. Homer thought Bart had lost his mind.
But the time draws near. Now let's get those fillings out of you.
Hey, you found my needle-nose pliers!
The next day, they took Bart in for an examination. The researcher hooked up equipment to Bart and observed him carefully before concluding that he shouldn't stop the medication, but could switch to a milder alternative. Bart adamantly refused to change drugs. He swatted away the substitute pills and lunged for the Focusin on the table, frantically swallowing them before scaling the wall and escaping. Marge begged them to stop Bart since he was clearly not in his right mind. The researcher told her not to panic. They could handle situations like this.
Hey, it was just air in mine.
Back home, Marge immediately called the police. An officer sketched a portrait based on her description. Homer, meanwhile, was chatting and laughing at the bar. When Marge confronted him about why he wasn't out looking for Bart, he revealed he had set up a trap and was waiting for Bart to fall into it. At that moment, Bart headed straight for the military base. He snuck into the bathhouse, swiped a sergeant's keys, and drove a tank through the streets of Springfield. The police gave chase, trying to shoot out his tires, but tank treads proved rather difficult to puncture. They could only watch helplessly as Bart drove the tank onto the school grounds. Marge arrived just in time and managed to stop him.
My God, is she brave, standing up to that freaked-out junkie.
Dad, that junkie is your son.
Why don't you just tell everybody?
Despite Marge's pleas, Bart wouldn't listen. He aimed the cannon directly at the school. The kids were thrilled. No more school. Then the cannon swung toward the church. The Reverend thought he was about to be put out of a job, but Bart didn't fire. Finally, he raised the barrel toward the sky and fired a single shot. A satellite came crashing down. It caught fire, and when the fire truck arrived, the firefighters were at a loss. Their manual said nothing about extinguishing satellite fires. While Flanders was still flipping through the handbook, Apu took matters into his own hands and doused the flames with water. That's when the logo on the satellite came into view. Lenny confirmed it had indeed been collecting everyone's personal data in remarkable detail. Representatives from Major League Baseball rushed to the scene. To make amends, they offered to treat everyone to a home run exhibition.
Yoink.
Bart received hush money in the form of a custom autographed baseball bat with a sparkling crystal glass ornament on it, which turned out to conceal a tiny camera. Seeing such a fine item, Homer decided to hang it by the bed so he could admire it every day.
You said a mouthful. When I can't stop fiddling, I just takes me riddling. I'm popping and sailing, man.